Sit up straight. No elbows on the table. You'll need proper etiquette for this morning's Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the South Carolina Civil War Museum, housed here in the Myrtle Beach Indoor Shooting Range. We're focused on etiquette, and we're visiting with the director of the Etiquette School of the Carolinas, Dianne Marsch. Good morning, Dianne.
Good morning.
Love your firm handshake there. That's very nice, or a nice handshake. Great to have you in this morning.
Thank you so much.
What about this South Carolina Civil War Museum? It's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
Your husband's out straying around here in the shooting range and checking out some of these amazing artifacts.
Yes, having fun.
Absolutely, that's right. While you're in here for 30 minutes. Thank you again for coming in. What an exciting experience to have kicked off the Etiquette School of the Carolinas. You've got a sister location in Manhattan, I believe.
Yes. I actually travel up and down the East Coast, and I work with corporations, I work with financial institutions, I work with real estate companies, universities, colleges, as well as children and teens. And I usually take a child around 4 years of age, and I have a curriculum that can go all the way through to high school. And then I have what's called the professional imaging class.
Right.
And I have a professional imaging class that will absolutely set you apart from your competition. My imaging class, every participant in that class will attain a new level of professionalism because the newly acquired skills, the strong motivation to do the best, and their self-esteem improves.
That's tremendous, and you've seen it already in some of your existing clients. You've seen that market difference or change that's occurred after being in your classes.
Absolutely. And I taught in Clemson, I'll be teaching in Hampton University in Virginia.
Tremendous.
And the Coastal Workforce, HGTC, I did a program with them, and I can see improvement in all areas.
Wonderful.
We have to keep in mind the tagline being skills for success, confidence for life. And we truly teach the basic skills required to have that confidence for life. We have to keep in mind that manners are more than mere formality. Manners are the foundation in life that helps you deal with every situation. And mastering good manners, as well as knowing and using the correct skills, enhances us in every aspect of our everyday lives as well as our professional lives.
It's fascinating. I don't think I'd contemplated that manners had such a tremendous impact on our lives. On a daily basis, I don't think I'd taken into account thinking that through, that obviously your posture here is wonderful at 7 a.m. That in and of itself here at 7 on a Thursday reminds me I need to be sitting up, particularly here in this environment. But manners, when you talk about manners having that kind of an impact on our lives, what are some examples of that? I mean, I guess if it's that involved in our lives, you really probably, the examples would be endless. But when we think about how the importance of manners.
Actually, if we go back to the professional imaging topic, and making that dynamic 30-second impression is crucial. Keep in mind that it's a fact that when people look successful and when they exude confidence through the way they speak and the way they carry themselves, they send a very positive and dynamic message. And you only have one opportunity to make that dynamic 30-second impression. People always ask me, just give me 2 reasons that I can use to help me make that first impression. And I usually say, I'll give you 2. One is free. The first one is wearing a jacket. It gives you command. When you have a jacket on, it gives you, not only are you in command, you receive respect. And along with that, it helps you establish credibility. So when you're wearing that jacket, it sets you apart from your competition. Also, good posture. You referred to posturing.
Yeah,
good posturing.
Again, yeah.
Keep those shoulders back and down.
Right.
And when you do, you actually will send a very positive, authoritative, and confident message.
Probably good for your back as well.
That's
or is
true.
It, yeah, probably good for my
That's true.
back. Think about being on a computer much during the day. Or there's some things
Yes.
you can do in a business environment, Dianne, that real quick, if viewers need to get off to work right now or get family out of the house, what's the best, is there a good phone number, local phone number? Is there a website that viewers could visit to learn more about the Etiquette School of the Carolinas, or even your location there in Manhattan?
They can go to etiquetteschool.org, O-R-G.
Right.
And our toll-free number is 1-877-506-2663.
Okay.
Or they can go to nyc.etiquetteschool.org.
Okay.
And the same phone number. And then a local number would be 843-390-1887.
Okay, 843-390-1887.
Correct.
Okay, great. And etiquette's possibly a tough word for folks to spell. You know, they can hear it, they can say it, but may have trouble spelling that. That's E-T-I-Q-U-E-T-T-E.
Correct. And that's a good point. They often say, could you spell that for me, please?
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of folks
appreciate
probably
that.
ask about that. Etiquetteschool.org and the local number 390-1887.
Yes.
A lot of folks probably call, and what are some of the most frequently asked questions that you hear, Dianne, when folks call in? Are there some ideas that if they're looking for something for their children, obviously when they want to think about getting better table manners, I'm sure that's an issue that parents oftentimes face. What can I do? My child's out of control when we go out to eat or even at home. Or are there certain things that parents could be thinking about?
Absolutely. I suggest, first of all, children should be taught good manners all the way from the time just about 2 years of age and up.
2.
Keep in mind that families are on the go, and manners are not taught like they used to be. And when a child is 3, now I actually take a child at 4 years of age and continue through. However, when a child is 3, I suggest that you teach them how to properly place the napkin on their lap. They're able to use it. Not only that, they should know which foods are acceptable to use their fingers to eat. Along with that, they should know that their mouths should be closed when they're chewing, and also they don't speak when they have food in their mouth.
Right.
And then about 3.5 years of age, they should be capable of waiting. Mommy's plate isn't completed yet. I don't have my plate, so you cannot help yourself. No one can start eating until everyone's been served. And also by the time, just before 4, they are capable of please taste a little bit. You don't have to eat it all, but taste a little bit and of each serving. And that helps discipline them and teaches them patience as well as manners. And then they're 4 years old and they come to me.
Right, yes, yes. And you start to, do you actually oftentimes visit their location, their home, or do they come to the Etiquette School location there at the Galleria?
Actually both, because I work with various ages and I've been an educator most of my working career and have a curriculum that's very age appropriate, very engaging, and very effective. I work with the churches as well, work with a lot of country clubs here.
Sure.
But I also do a lot with children, teens, and adults, and I always work with the adults. Includes the dining, but it also includes professional look, and for instance the right wardrobe and how that affects you.
Absolutely. You mentioned working, and obviously mentioned dining there. Viewers can see in one of those shots this tremendous spread there. Of course, our director was talking earlier this morning about the Titanic and some interesting pieces about eating on a boat, which is very important to think about. But even seeing this great spread here gets me hungry. That's there could be a lot of courses with that many plates. What's the significance of all this silverware out on the table?
It just shows you if you're going to have a 4-course meal and how the table would be set up. And I don't have the glasses displayed, but you should have no more than 4 glasses at any time for
no
a
more
dinner.
Than 4. Yeah, I can't even imagine having 4.
Added. Yeah. And then the fish fork, and then your entree fork, and then your salad fork if you're eating the continental style of eating. And of course, American style or zigzag or crisscross all means the same. And along with that, I actually take 4-, 5-, and 6-year-olds out to dine.
Is that right?
They come into our office.
Right.
We have a 3.5-hour class. Then they will meet me in the restaurant, and I just took a group, 2 4-year-olds, 2 5-year-olds, and 2 6-year-olds, and they sat there for 2.5 hours.
No.
And they took their turn. They knew that my little hourglass, actually a minute glass, they knew that they would have a turn and they could talk about their favorite topic, their favorite book, their favorite
Sure.
animal, and they sat there and they practiced how to hold their utensils. And it's very engaging, a lot of fun, and very effective for that age.
I bet it is. Sure, you've got some items here that viewers are probably not used to seeing, or at least I'm not used to seeing. What's this fancy little piece right here? I don't know if viewers can, I don't know if there's a proper way to hold that up. Does that sit on tables very often? What would this be for?
That is a utensil rest. And people don't always know that the minute you use any utensil, you are never supposed to let it come in contact with the table again. And if we were to travel back to King Louis XIV's time, and he had those grand banquets, and we often do that. We're role-playing a lot with the children and the teens, and we would travel back, and they become weary travelers on the dirt road, or they attend a banquet for King Louis XIV, and they would find these pieces. And this, they usually say, is a sugar dish, a little tiny sugar dish, but actually it's a salt cellar.
Oh,
and
really?
if you were one of the invitees going to King Louis XIV's banquet, you would actually look, the minute you enter, you would look to see where the salt cellar was located on the table, to see who would be the most important person, because that person would be seated the closest to the salt cellar. And it's really interesting. And children come in, and we do, as I said, we do a lot of role playing, we do a lot of activities where they're engaged, a lot of fun-filled learning techniques, and as a result of that, I also share a lot of history, and I talk about why elbows aren't allowed on the table, and
why they
aren't,
not,
and
right?
that's really a confusing topic to a lot of people, because some of the rules have changed today.
Is that
and
right?
as a result of that, it's now appropriate where the man used to wait for the woman to extend her hand. Now the man can come up, and remember, you're professionals. You are equal. And elbows being on the table, I actually still teach no elbows on the table. The rule has been changed somewhat because of the fact that elbows can be placed on the table if no one's using any utensil, no one's eating or drinking anything, and then they can place their elbow on the table. But I prefer to teach always, your wrists are on the table, so it's always, which also gives you good posturing.
Right.
And along with always, sometimes means you can lean in. If you aren't eating or using any utensils, you would lean into the person to show that you're very engaged and focused on what they're discussing. So always, sometimes, and never.
Never.
And it's an easy rule for the children to
When you
remember
say the
as well.
rule, not to cut you off, excuse me, when you talk about the rule changing, now we're thinking from King Louis's time, or we're thinking over the last 20, 30, 40 years, and who's making the rules?
People change, just like the dot-com companies resulted in a change in wardrobe, which I'll explain in just a moment. But the rules actually are changing because there are constantly new etiquette rules to follow in not only professionalism, but in dining as well. And for instance, when you are seeking a job position, keep in mind that many contracts are finalized over dining. And as a result of that, sometimes it comes down to the job to last applicants, and they need to be dining savvy. And the rules, depending on the profession that you're in, first of all. But there have been some changes. Like I said, the elbows on the table is one. Handshaking is another, although you have your basic handshake and your professional handshake. But along with that, for instance, there were a lot of changes back in the 80s in the dress. When you think of businesses today are seeking ways to train their employees in proper protocol, they are also changing and revising their entire dress codes. And companies, in the last 2 years, there has been a significant increase in companies implementing an etiquette program that will actually teach etiquette to their work staff. They're offering it as part of the services when they're hiring. Along with that, when the .com companies came in and everybody was flocking to the .com companies, and you thought of dress and then the dress down, and then to make it very appealing to the college graduates, keep in mind they not only had dress down Friday, they had dress down every day, it seemed like, and that was almost like beach day, and it became very confusing and very frustrating. No one knew how to dress. Well, now we've gone completely opposite. Yes, and I'm not saying that you have to wear a suit every day, but what I am saying is that you wear that jacket. It sets you apart. And along with that, the right wardrobe makes the difference. And when you are wearing clothing that's the right style and the right color for you, you not only look attractive, you look energized and enthusiastic and alive, and that makes the difference. And when you're wearing clothing that's the wrong style or the wrong color, then you look tired and exhausted and washed out. So as a result of that, I can take a group of people, and I always say to them, let's dress the body that you have now. That's how I work with them as far as looking slimmer and taller.
Let's dress the body that you have now. That's very smart. That's probably something that they take kindly to, because that's what they know.
Actually, most people will say to me, I'm on a diet, I'm hoping to lose X amount of pounds. However, I say to them, you're a professional now. Let's work on the body that you have now. And to look taller, I suggest that the monochromatic look will work. You can wear the navy blue shirt, or you can, and with the navy blue pants, or the burgundy shirt and the burgundy pants. And keep in mind that you're a package. It's not just a piece in your wardrobe. You have to think of ensembles. It's your shirt and your tie and your jacket and your belt and your slacks and your shoes, and your, along with your haircut and your nails.
And this is all stuff that's taught at the Etiquette School of the Carolinas. That's tremendous. This is, of course, oftentimes when folks think of etiquette, they may think of just what they're doing at a dining table or cotillion and certain social dances, but they may not think of being projecting a much stronger image. And of course, we want to talk about the 30-second dynamic impression, but this is all taught at the Etiquette School of the Carolinas.
You need to keep in mind that your appearance is always visual, and along with that, having a polished appearance showcases you at your best. And everything about your personal presentation needs to send a message of congruency. 55% of the impact you make on someone is based on your appearance.
55%?
55%. When you look good, you feel good. And when you look good and feel good, you send that powerful message.
That's tremendous.
And when we're talking about looking slimmer or taller, for instance, when you walk into the room to make that dynamic 30-second impression, you want to make sure that the focal point is on your face. And if this happened to be the widest area, you don't want people to immediately go to your stomach or your hips. So that's how we attack that problem. You need to, first of all, you wouldn't purchase a jacket that ends right there in that area, because that's adding width. You would want to purchase a longer jacket. And you wouldn't want to purchase a jacket that has flaps on it, because again, flaps will give you width. So you would want to purchase the either the jetted pocket, the slit pocket, the angle pocket, or you can buy a jacket that has the flap will fit inside as well.
Tremendous advice.
And then as we go through, we talk about whatever your needs are. And I actually have a program, I customize the programs to fit the need. And I have a program where I can take you from the haute couture all the way through to professionalism and clothing that you would not want to purchase, as far as the plastic buttons and what not to buy.
Probably what I'm wearing, No, that's fine. That's fine. It's 7 a.m. So but you're saying this should be sun up to sundown. You really need to think about the image you're providing at all times.
Absolutely. When you leave in the morning, you need to make sure that your image has been taken care of. And you need to make sure that the clothing is the right color and the style, along with sending that special message of confidence.
It's a great question that, of course, our associate producer had helped in discussing with you. Sometimes people find it difficult to be a good listener. What suggestions can you give them? Of course, I'm sitting here with you, and all week long we're thinking about it. You're reminding me about posture. It is 7 o'clock here, so
Okay.
but I do need to sit up. What are some great things that I could do to improve my listening skills?
That is a powerful question. No matter where I travel, that's one of the top 3 questions that
Really?
I always receive and ask to address in the presentation. First of all, we need to make sure that we listen not only with our ears, but with our mind as well, and our body. Our body language plays a crucial part in this. Keep in mind that you should be facing the person. You should have that good eye contact. And we should maintain that eye contact a good 75 to 85% of the time.
Is that right?
Not 100%, because then you feel like invading my space.
Sure.
But 75 to 85% of the time, we have that good eye contact. Along with that, we don't interrupt. People will often say, I know exactly what you're talking about. I went through the same experience. And they will ask me, how do I get my conversation back? And I always explain to them, don't let people interrupt you, because that diminishes your presence. So first of all, you're making good eye contact. You're listening with your body, your mind, as well as your ears.
Right.
And then you are thinking in your mind, repeating what is being said. And along with that, you're making sure that you are ready to paraphrase at the proper time. Make sure that you're able to follow through. And then people are so excited because they think, oh, she knows exactly what I'm trying to explain.
Sure. You mentioned that's one of the 3 most popular questions that you get. We've only got a couple of minutes, Dianne. I want to make sure, what are a couple of the other questions that you most frequently get? And again, the etiquetteschool.org, very easy to find. And for our viewers in the PD or southeastern North Carolina, they can dial the 877 number, which you gave, but the local number is 390-1887. Would you mind giving that 877 number again? And that would be for anyone in our viewing area?
Absolutely.
Good.
1-877-506-2663.
506-2663. Okay,
Yes.
877. What, again, those other couple of questions that you get most frequently or are asked by corporations or universities or colleges to speak about?
Effective communication and tonality go together, and then attitude. And I talk about effective communication, how important it is. And when you think of effective communication, like we are having, it's a ping pong game. It's a tennis match. You contribute, I contribute. You serve, I receive, and then we reverse the roles. It's a give and take, back and forth. And along with that is your tonality. 38% of your impact on someone is based on your tonality. And when you think of your tonality, it's a vocal effect. It's your pitch, pace, rate, intensity, all those components, how quickly you speak or how slowly you speak. But keep in mind, tonality, vocal effect, we create with our voice a visual image that can have implications far beyond the spoken word. And as a result of that, our vocal effect or our paralanguage creates our emotional state. And then we express that through the correct tonality.
Right. I bet there are a lot of folks that are reluctant or almost scared of etiquette. They don't want to know too much because they think it'll just dramatically impact or change their lives, but it's really impacting for the best.
Absolutely. Children are not taught, teens are not taught etiquette like they used to be in the home.
Right.
Families are on the go, as I mentioned. Along with that, they have and the schools aren't reinforcing it like they used to. And parents will always say to me, help, I need help. What can you do to help for instance, if it's a parent of a teen, they always ask me, if it's a young teen, can you teach them self-esteem? Can you teach them to have some confidence? Because I don't recognize my child. They're so down on themselves. Then if it's a parent of an older teen, they will say, can you teach my son or daughter communication? They don't communicate with me. And isn't it interesting, when I have a teen group, I always say to them, well, first of all, they live their lives online. And because of the internet, they don't know how to make social chit-chat.
Right.
And then along with that, when I have the teens, their first question usually is, tell me everything you know about dating. I need all the tips.
Oh, yeah.
However, when I talk about, I want you to write your most important problem or your most important concern, they will always write, can you teach my parents to listen?
Ah, very
Isn't
important.
that interesting?
Golly, Dianne, speaking of most important point here, I'm sorry, we've run out of time. We're going to have to get you back another time. There's so many more questions we'd like to get answered. Thank you so much for your time. Very
I
definitely.
appreciate it.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Dianne Marsch of the Etiquette School of the Carolinas. Coming up next. If you want to learn skills for success, confidence for life, classes are available. You can sign up today. There are opportunities in your area, whether you live in Manhattan or live here locally. Dianne will find a way to get to you. 877-506-2663. 877-506-2663 or visit etiquetteschool.org.